But yeah, going from that, and in terms of earlier this year in streaming, we had Tim Tim. Did you play any of the Tim Tim?
No, I didn't play any of it. No.
We had Tim Tim, which then turned into Valorant. Valorant launched this year to record numbers there. And then after Valorant, we had Fall Guys coming in.
Oh yeah.
And Fall Guys, I mean, what did you think of Fall Guys this year?
I didn't play it.
You didn't play it? Well, I thought you had to play at least once, right?
Yep.
Really?
I downloaded it, but
Hold on. It had made a very, very, very much a point for us to play it.
I didn't play it.
This is kind of like Kanagawa Jet Girls. You never played it.
Nope.
Why am I the one who buys the games but you never play it?
You didn't pay for Fall Guys.
No, I didn't. Hero, welcome to the chat, and we're going to be talking about the best of 2020 gaming news here. Moving on, next up, I think these are games that we did both play, were Among Us and Phasmophobia.
Right. Yep.
Those two, I think you're still playing Phasmophobia.
Yeah, I put it until I put it. I should have slept. I actually should have slept way earlier. I was very tired today because of Phasmo.
You're spending your time with the ghost, and then finally,
I'm literally drinking a zone right now.
You're drinking that energy drink, and then finally, Genshin Impact. Now, I think that would have been the last part of the Twitch trends. It's so hard to say. And in terms of those games, I mean, I think I've spent the most time with Phasmophobia. And I think you've probably spent the most time with Phasmophobia as well. But when we look at the trend, it really went, in terms of streaming, it's very much about gaming together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that would be the theme for 2020. Yeah, just in general. I mean, like Animal Crossing as well, kind of a cultural experience, really.
That's true. Animal Crossing blew up on Twitter. I mean, it was one of those things that I don't think it's ever done the way that it did this year. Was just kind of like amplified. You know what I mean? People were tweeting it. People were getting their Switches out. People who didn't even play Animal Crossing or even play a Switch before, it was like a phenomenon. And I was like, what's happening? And then, we had the story on Joe Biden. Joe Biden made his island. Yeah, he wanted to show you he was a gamer.
For sure. Yeah, he's a gamer. Yeah. Sorry, I had to process that for a bit.
It was processing. Well, this episode is called Processing, and it's going to be us in the same room together because we're not actually in. Anyways. No. And then finally, we had another streamer. I'm trying to remember. I thought I wrote this down. Did I write this down? I didn't write it down. Anyways, we'll keep moving. But yeah, that happened. And Dr. Disrespect is now on YouTube.
He is, yeah. Well, not now on YouTube, but he moved to YouTube this year. Yeah,
he got moved
after his very mysterious ban from Twitter. I don't think we never found out about that. We never found out the reason. Yeah,
we never found out a reason why he was banned. He's been very like secretive about it, but he's been hinting like there's a lot of money tied up into it. I can't say anything. We just know he's just banned from Twitch, and Twitch, this year, in terms of what's happened in the social, not in the streaming landscape. We had Mixer closed down,
right?
Which was we knew the numbers were kind of going down, but we didn't know how bad it was. There were stories.
We could probably talk about Mixer for like an extra like 20 or so minutes, but I mean, like Microsoft really fumbled that one. You know what I mean?
They did, and there was so much hype about it coming out the gate.
Yeah, I just feel like Microsoft didn't support Mixer in the way that they could have, should have. Like they pulled over Ninja and Shroud, right?
Right,
and a couple other people, right? And then they're just like, hey, look, like the biggest streamers are now on Mixer, and then that was it. Like they expected like Shroud and Ninja to have such a pull on their audience that they would pull over these people to Mixer, and then those people would stick around on Mixer. But the problem is, if the platform only has like one streamer you want to watch, you're probably not gonna stick around. Like I feel like they could have done more to like make the platform legitimately better than Twitch, as opposed to just like, oh, we have Ninja now.
That's right. And they tried to gain a lot of the smaller streamers, and that was one of the things that we both had kind of debated or kind of thought about when we first started streaming. Actually, it was like,
I feel like what they could have done was been like, oh, like the equivalent of Twitch affiliate, like we'll give that to you from the get go. Like that would have been a huge. That would have been a huge.
That would have been huge. Yeah. That would have been huge because there were some cool things that they had done with the way that you could stream games together, the kind of co-op streaming that you could do. And then there was also another feature where some games had I guess, more user integration into them. Like for whoever's watching, they could kind of participate in the game. So there was a lot of cool things. But now Ninja and Shroud are back on Twitch. So
yep.
Yeah, they're back to where they started. And then they got money and they got paid. So who won? Who really won? They won. They definitely won.
Oh, Ninja! I forgot the number, but like the money
stupid,
that he got, because sorry, Mixer bought him out basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Mixer gave him a ton of money, but then when Mixer shut down, he got paid out the rest of his contract just to go back to Twitch. So he made bank.
He made bank.
He made in 2020.
Bank.
Yeah.
Yo, big brother Ninja. If you can, I'm your cousin. Just shouting out, ninja tricks. I'm like your little cousin, far removed. Yeah. But if you want to ever give me that Switch, man, it's a little bit of your money. It's a little. It's just a little bit of the money. And then finally, of course, we had we didn't say it yet. Mixer actually ended up becoming part of Facebook Gaming.
I don't know if they became part of Facebook. They just sold all the stuff to Facebook.
Which of course, and YouTube gaming, which kind of was on the rise this year. I think we saw that with some streamers that went from Twitch to there. So the streaming landscape, it's still kind of evolving. Things are happening there, and we can't talk about Twitch without talking about all these darn DMCA issues that have been popping up left and right. I can't even sing on stream. I have to worry about singing Happy Birthday, man.
No, that's within. You're safe for Happy Birthday.
I'm safe for Happy Birthday.
There's no copyright on that one.
You sure?
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Off. I'm just saying.
Offline. Yeah, it's offline.
Yeah. So we've got that, and their solution to it has been kind of slow. I know last week they released an update. Well, OBS released an update in which they said that they've been working with Twitch to you can actually strip the video, or not the video. You can strip the audio from your VOD.
Yeah, like up track. If you select a certain track, that won't show up in your VOD.
Mm-hmm. Similar to what I did earlier with our audio.
I have a better solution to that though.
Okay.
Rather than having music that's live and then music that's not on your VOD, a better solution is to just use DMCA safe music, and you don't have to worry about that. Just use that.
Oh, you mean like a service like?
Well, we're not sponsored by
no. I was prepping for that eventual sponsorship,
Oh,
yeah. I know you like that Monster Cat. So
yeah, we're not sponsored by Monster Cat or anything.
We're not.
Yeah.
Chat, if you're here, go
but you can sponsor us.
You can sponsor us.
The listener can sponsor us by going over to anchor.fm/UDPcast and sending us a donation.
There we go. We never say that enough. We never do that enough. We did it. That's the sponsor break for this week. But seriously, moving on, Twitch has been that's kind of been the landscape of Twitch this year. They've been, for every somewhat decent thing that they do, they kind of take a step back and then do something like we just don't care about. It's just like, come on, just pay attention, work for us, try to promote everybody, make it easier to find people. I mean, just try to help. I don't know. Just do something. Anyways, moving on. I mean, do you have anything else to say about streaming stuff this year?
I don't know. I guess it blew up this year. Like the numbers show that it blew up this year, just with more people home and having more free time. I know at least one person personally who was like, "Oh, I'm home so much now that I figured I'd give streaming a shot."
That's
so
true.
You just have a lot of people like that who are like, "Oh, I'm at home. I'm playing video games. So might as well start streaming."
You might as well.
I don't know what's gonna happen in 2021. Or more like how many of these people are gonna be like, "Oh, I'm going back to my job now," or like, "Actually, it's not for me." But we'll see.
It'll be really interesting, especially like you said, people are going back to work in some cases, or will be going back to work. But how many of those offices or companies will actually be like, hey, this kind of go into the office twice a week or 3 times a week, it saves us money and it's working for our employees. Everyone seems happier. If you want to come in more often, you can, but just keeping that flex kind of coming into the office, if that becomes a normal working pattern, it'll be kind of interesting to see if that kind of works into the working culture around the world. Moving on, we got VTubers, which you're looking at right now. We did a special on this. I think we were just talking about how they had blown up this year. I think they really became more I mean, I think they were always big. Am I right, Alex? They've always been big, but would you say this year was a more explosive year for them?
I don't know if they were always big, but they've certainly transformed like in this year in particular. We've seen the rise of live streaming as more of the content delivery what's the word? Content delivery, like not platform, but like method for VTubers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because traditionally, like when it was like what's called like the forerunner, like Keys and Eye, right, or
Right,
Mira and
right.
Kari, a lot of it was like offline content, like YouTube stuff. So that's why I think it started out as VTuber because it was just the stuff that Japanese YouTubers would do, where it's like, oh, let's try
Right.
this cup ramen, or let's play this silly game, and it was just basically that kind of content, but done by a virtual avatar. And then we saw like slowly it shift to just a lot of live streaming, and now a lot of the big VTubers, whether it's like a Hololive VTuber or like a Niji Sanji VTuber or even some like independent VTubers, a lot of it is just live streaming.
That's
It's
true.
it's like no different from like a
Just
live streamer on Twitch or
on
YouTube,
Twitch.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's really close.
So there's been just this gradual shift to just how people consume, VTuber content. And I think, this year in particular, it's we've seen not only like more live streaming content, but also like a lot of independent VTubers are starting to come out. Just because it's easier now to become a VTuber.
Right, right.
And I think it's the same in the same way that like I would say like 5-6 years ago, it was, let's say, relatively more difficult to be a streamer on Twitch. Like, what
Right.
did you need? Maybe there weren't that many options for capture cards, and if you wanted to like look like what did you do? You had like a Logitech webcam.
That's right.
If you wanted to like look professional, you would need to use like an actual camera. But then
That's true.
how do you capture that? And then like in 2018 to 2020, like mainstream live streaming products have just become so prevalent. It's so easy for anyone to be like, I'm going to be streaming on Twitch.
You can
right?
either go the capture card route with like a USB capture card, or you can just stream from your console. You don't even need anything. Just like if you have a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, just hit the button and go live.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and
It's like
and
it's
then if
there.
you want, and if you wanted to look, like if you wanted to be like really professional, like I would say before, like it was a bit of a rarity to have like to use like a DSLR as your webcam, as
Right.
opposed to just using like a webcam, right?
Right, right.
And then like sound mixers like are easy to get now. But with VTubers, like now, it's not too hard to get set up to be a VTuber. You can kind of just like commission a 3D model to make you a model,
Right, right.
and then you need face tracking software, and you just need like OBS in your set,
In a
really.
camera, right? I mean your normal webcam, right? I mean it's not a special camera that you need.
Yeah, basically anything to track your face. I think like most of the VTubers might use like an iPhone actually, but yeah.
There you go. I mean, you can get that software on. I mean, there's this actual software and programs on the iPhone itself or your PC, vice versa, that can do that tracking. Also, that come with models. I think like preset models. If you don't have someone,
Some of them have like stock models for sure, right? But um, otherwise, like if you want to take it seriously, like people will commission like a model.
right, right. If you want to do it the big way. So I mean that I think it's going to be interesting to see where they go in the future, and I know we're going to be checking in again next year for sure on just like we I think we did that special in around January, not January, sorry, July, August, September or something like that. I feel like somewhere
I don't know, I can't remember.
around there. So we're like I said, we're gonna check back in on that next year, and we're gonna see how it goes because I'm interested. Maybe one day I'll find my girl.
Sure. Maybe you'll be that girl. Be your own VTuber.
But what if I want to be the guy?
I don't know. Go for it then.
And of course, if you're in the chat and you have any topics that you want to throw out that you thought were the best of 2020, let us know. Just write on in there, and we'll, we can get a little conversation about that. And moving on, of course, we had I think one of the biggest things in gaming this year. Of course, you can't deny the launch of or just leading up to the Xbox Series X and S and the PlayStation 5. We went through the controller for the PS5, and then we went to the
it
actual
took them
console.
a while. I like how Microsoft and Sony kind of did the reverse. Like Microsoft was like, "Here's our console," and then Sony was like, "Here's the controller."
Here's the controller.
And I was okay.
Yeah, that I mean that was it. And we were in looking at it, it's kind of like it's kind of like Sony was really slow on getting the news out. Compared to Microsoft, Microsoft was really ahead of the game. They were letting us know what was in the console, what the UI was going to be, all of these different things. And of course, we had Game Pass, which they were touting. You know, Game Pass is this huge thing as a service, and it honestly has lived up to that. I think when you look at Xbox,
at least on console for sure, yeah, I think it's a little bit lacking. Not a little bit, but it's just not as good. It's not as good on PC.
It still has a lot of games on PC, but why do you think that disconnect is though?
Well, it's because if you're going to be using Game Pass on PC, you're limited to anything that's available in the the Windows Game Store. It has to be in the Game Store. Like, it's not like, oh, you get this game on Steam or Origin or anything like that.
Right.
So, you're limited in games that are only on the Game Store for Windows.
Okay.
So that by nature restricts it already.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
Because you can get Nier on console, but you can't get Nier on PC because Nier's only on Steam.
Right. And the library and I think we went over this on one episode. We were looking at the library size, and it's pretty. It's very much. You could say maybe even like 30 game difference, or maybe even more than that. In terms of console versus how many games are on the PC, with there being less games offered on the PC, like we were just talking about. Yeah.
But that'll change. Like, honestly, I would say that might get worse as time goes on, unless Microsoft can figure out a way for it to work with Steam. If Microsoft can figure out how to get Game Pass to work with Steam, then it'll be parity. That'll be parity.
That'll be parity.
Yeah.
That would be the paradigm shift, as everyone says. Hero, thanks for stopping by. And as always, it's good to have you here. Ed just enjoyed the VTuber concert as well, the Hololive concert, and said he was crying. He's got tears of joy. His girls,
it was really good. It's really good, yeah.
Are you crying?
I thought I was like, man, I was gonna tweet about it. I was gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna fucking cry. This is so good. Yeah.
So I mean that's one of the things that happened, and then Sony fires back, of course, with Unreal 5 being on. Of course, Unreal 5 is not an exclusive thing on the PlayStation 5, but it was shown first there, and Epic, was saying like it's gonna be so great, and all these things are running on PS5, and people for the longest time were like, okay, what's better? What really is going to be better? I mean, the system, the different types of architecture, all that kind of stuff. That's just what it was. And finally, we had them launch. They're both doing fine. I don't think anyone's upset with their consoles. We haven't had a lot of overheating issues, I don't think. I think it's been relatively quiet.
No, it gets hot though. There was a thermal analysis of the PS5. It gets really hot, but
you want to touch the chip after like a second, just touch it.
But I mean, like, so far it hasn't, like, I don't think there's been any stories of it overheating or anything like that. I mean, it does a pretty good job of dissipating heat as much as it can, and that's probably why it's so big. You know what I mean? It has to be that big.
That's true. We forgot to even mention the console reveal of the PlayStation 5 was another news cycle of itself, just how big it was.
It is. Have you seen one in person?
No,
yet,
I still haven't seen one in person. I still haven't seen.
You haven't gone to like Akihabara or anything like that yet.
Yeah, I still haven't gone out yet.
So I saw the console in person, or at least like a dummy model of it, right? And I told you this before, but when I saw that, I was like, holy shit!
It's the size of my console.
It's a big console.
It's the size of my torso. And Zen is here. Welcome, Zen. He's saying that Game Pass is really good though, and I mean it's a good value.
It is good.
It's a great value.
It is good.
Is it $5, $10, $8?
It's pretty cheap to be honest.
I think it's $8.99, something like that. So I think you can also get like Disney Plus and like the Ultimate Bundle. There's different bundles with it, and I honestly, we didn't even talk about the fact that you could subsidize the cost of your Xbox Series X or I believe even S. So you can literally get
in America,
in the US, you can actually just get it for basically maybe the whole console itself for like $30 a month. And
it's so compelling. I mean, we talked about this around the launch of the Xbox, but I mean, like, if you take the cost of a console and you're like, oh, it's $30 a month, and you also get it comes with Game Pass, but does it also come with Xbox Live Gold? I think so, right?
I think it does. Yeah, all of that is bundled into each other. All of it's one thing with Game Pass.
Right. So $30 a month until you pay off your console, like that's
cheap. It's
really
cheap.
good. That's really good.
That's dirt cheap. And the PS5 came in under the cost of what everyone thought it might come in
as.
Like
$4.99.
It's
$4.99. It's cheaper if you have the discless version, but yeah.
Yep. And Zen, I think Zen is saying that it might just be $1 for
Game Pass.
for Game Pass in some way or form. But
if it's subsidized or something, right?
But to add on to all of this, Microsoft goes, and I think this is a huge story as well, buys, of course, Bethesda, but buys the whole ZeniMax category, the whole entire suite. So, Sony had this state of play, FF16, Demon's Souls, Project Agatha, all these hype games. Then Microsoft goes, yo, bro, we got any Western RPG, anything you ever thought you like, Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, Fallout, we got them all. We got all the studios like it too. So did
that personally affect you as do you play Bethesda games?
No,
or you're just whatever, okay.
No, it didn't. Then here's the thing, because it's the same thing when we were talking about last week about Cyberpunk. I can't get into first person RPGs, so like that entire catalog.
You've never cared about them. You're like, Fallout, I don't care. Yeah, okay.
It just, for some reason, I can't get into it. So, but I know for a lot of people who are into those games, it could be a big deal for some people. But like we said, if you got a PC, you're good. If you
you're if you were already gaming on PC, it's just like, okay, whatever.
It's all good. But
fine.
It leads into question what they might be buying next, or what Sony might be buying next. And I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
What is Sony buying? I don't know.
Oh no, I mean like companies, game companies. like a Sega.
What would Sony buy?
Yeah, Sega or Atlas or SNK, Playmore, any of those kind of companies.
I don't know if Sony would need to buy a company in response to Bethesda, to be honest.
I mean,
yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say. I don't think it was a big of a threat. I think Sony didn't see the purchase of Bethesda as that big of a threat to them.
Yeah.
Honestly, things might have changed if it was like Square Enix or Capcom or something like that. But
that's true.
But since it wasn't, they were just like, oh, okay. I mean, that's fine. And I think for the games that already been announced, they said that they're still going to honor the exclusivity contracts.
They're right. They will.
So this will only affect the games that aren't announced yet.
Right. That are coming forth that we don't know
about.
That
we don't even know about yet.
Yeah. Or things that we do know about that maybe, things haven't been tied up 100% yet. So, I mean, it's a thing, and I think it made a lot of news. And going along finally with all of this, we have the next gen graphics cards. They're not next gen graphics cards. They're just
this year's graphics
cards at a very affordable price.
Well, they're the same price as the thing is that they're the same price as last year, but the performance gains are much better than the equivalent cards from last year.
And the equivalent top of the line cards from last year. So your basic entry level card for this year is going to get you better
more than last year's top tier card. Yeah.
And that's the main thing. You got the RTX 3080, right? The GeForce.
I have 3080, yeah.
Okay. And then I picked up the 3070 that's just under my desk right now. How are you enjoying it? Is it made your PC gaming more viable?
That's a good question.
Better for you?
What a question. Here's the thing about PC building, and if you go on Reddit, everyone probably agree with you, is that when you buy the top tier card and you put it in, you it's not like your gaming experience is just suddenly that much better. It is appreciably better. And I think if you're making a huge jump from let's say your hardware is several years old, then you'll see a difference. But for a lot of people, the joke is oh, I bought a 3090 and now I'm gonna play Roblox, or now I'm gonna play Minecraft.
You're gonna play the lowest.
What are you gonna do with your $3,000 computer? Go on YouTube.
It's you could literally do 8K gaming now. You can.
Yeah.
But then it's what games are in 8K? Honestly,
but
there's
here's
only
the thing.
A certain few.
I'll tell you what having a 3080 has afforded me is that now I can play Apex Legends. I can stream Apex Legends and basically always maintain 140 FPS.
Okay.
Whereas before, if I was streaming Apex Legends on my old card, which was a 1070, I would have dropped down to 80 to 90 frames per second, which is still very playable, but obviously it's just not
it's not as smooth.
It's not as smooth, right? Yeah, exactly. It's not as smooth.
It's not what you're used to when you're not streaming.
Right. So now that I have a 3080, I can basically play the game at max settings and stream it and maintain 140 frames per second, which is basically means not only is my stream getting a really good viewing experience, I'm also getting a good gaming experience.
Right.
Right.
Which is a win. It's a win-win for.
It's a win for well, really for me, really. But
True.
what having a 3080 now, and obviously I've only realized this in the last week, is that I'm playing Cyberpunk 2077 at max settings, like completely balls to the wall maxed out.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm playing Cyberpunk balls out, like completely max, and my frame rate is like it fluctuates between like the mid 40s to like the 80s, which is
that's part of the game. That's just the game right there. That's
right. But for like a game like that, that's very like I would say that's just very playable. That's really good, and that's at max, completely max settings.
It's like ultra super combo.
It's
max.
absolutely max settings. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy, and just to know that a lot of people, and that's the mid tier, I guess of the 3 cards, the 30. Well, I mean, there's the 3060 now, so it's 30, 60, 70, 80, and then there's the 90. So I guess it's the upper mid tier is what we could call it.
It's yeah, basically it's like the beginning of the enthusiast level tier. Yeah.
So I think if you're in the market now and you're looking for a PC, it's a beautiful time to go buy yourself a PC or make a PC. If you don't want to do the whole console route, or if you want to do the console route, we said this earlier, but you can get yourself an Xbox Series X, and it's going to hit you up with that 1440p. And that was one of their big news this year was, hey, we also have the
console
X.
supports 1440p.
Yeah,
right, yeah,
and we have the S as well. So those are the things for that. And we're actually halfway through the news. We're halfway through this. Once again, if you are listening, feel free, chime in. If you have any opinions on any of the things, or if you are listening not on Twitch but in your ear, send us an audio message about what you think.
Wait, what? If you're listening on Twitch, not on Twitch but in your ear, what? How else are they listening to it? How do you listen to stuff on Twitch? What, through your eyes? What is this?
Yo, I come from the future where we have lots of different things here. In 2077, it's buggy as heck. It's one of the bugs right there.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, you can head to the Anchor page at anchor.fm/UGPcast and leave a voicemail about what you thought about any of the topics on this week's show, and we'll talk about it next show.
Yeah.
And speaking of 2077, this year was we had 3 really major releases.
What would you say those 3 are?
And I forgot one of them on the list, but Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Sure.
Last of Us Part 2.
Sure.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Those are the big 3 ones for you?
Those are the big 3. All those games took 7+ years to make in some sort of fashion, or 7 years after they were unveiled. They're all 7 somewhere.
Wait, was FF7 Remake 7 years?
Do we want to count the PS3 trailer or not?
That one doesn't count, no. That was a tech demo.
Okay, well then I think that might be 5.
I believe honestly, it's pretty short turnaround if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Was announced.
Here we go.
Sorry, the Wikipedia page is very wordy.
The Wikipedia page.
Yeah. I looked this up recently, but it wasn't like the turnaround for when they showed it off. Wasn't that? So rumors announced at 2015, so 5 years ago.
So 5 years. Okay. But
and it was already delayed. It would have come out in 2019 actually.
That's right. Zen is saying he didn't play a single one of the games we just mentioned, and I think we I think people the hype for FF7 Remake. I think they did a wonderful job, and this doesn't even fit into the category of game crunch and death threats that I made.
Did anyone get death threats for FF7?
I don't think
so, right?
Yeah, nothing. No, I mean, FF7 was like super pleasant, but when it came to Last of Us Part 2 and Cyberpunk had 4 delays over the course this year, if I remember, 3 or 4 delays, and each time people, of course, getting more and more frustrated. The messaging.
Like, just put the game out, and they're like, okay, fine, here's the game, and they're like, the game's so buggy. Why did you delay it?
Why did you delay it?
What do you want?
The karma or whatever is just on Cyberpunk 2077. I think that was the most ironic part. It's like we put it out, guys. It doesn't work. What's happening?
Right. And I gotta say though, because I've been playing Cyberpunk on PC, right?
Mm-hmm.
The game 100% is buggy. There's no question. It is really buggy. It is absolutely really buggy. But for me, at least on PC, like the game hasn't like crashed at least.
Right.
And it's very playable. Like I said, like most of the time, like when I'm in a gunfight, it's like 60 frames, 70 frames per second, which is very playable, right? And that's at max settings. So if I toned it down, it would be even better. So for me, at least, the game it's got weird quirks to be like, oh, why is like why is a bullet coming through that wall? That's fucking weird. But like
it's the Matrix.
It's at least on PC, it's very playable, right?
Right.
I didn't realize this because I don't have the console version, but I was watching some videos, watching some tech analysis of the console versions, and the Xbox version of Cyberpunk, Xbox One, like not Xbox One X, Xbox One, is hitting like 22 frames per second. 22 frames per second.
I heard PS4 was like 12, right? Like
maybe the worst, yeah. And like one guy on like this YouTube video was like, I thought the game froze, but it turned out it took like a minute to render a frame. So the comment on YouTube was like 60 frames per second, more like one frame per 60 seconds.
For 60 seconds. Yo, yeah. Zen is saying Cyberpunk on console was horrible, is horrible, and I think
I would argue, it is.
We're definitely agreeing with that.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, it's like, how do you put this is arguably one of the biggest games of the year. How on earth can you the version that everyone has,
like most people will be playing
on.
Yeah.
How are you not developing on that first? And how can you not tell that it's running at 20 frames a second? Like when you're
I know. Here's the thing. It's just like, oh man, if your game is running at 20 frames per second, that's a problem. That's a problem.
You're running below VR standards. Even VR really has to be held to like 30 seconds. What is this? What is this? And this week or last week, we saw the stories, of course, of refunds happening. And soon after that, there were so many refunds. Sony decided to just take it off PlayStation Network. I don't know if it's back up.
Delisted. It's done. I think it's still delisted.
It's still delisted. The Cyberpunk, the CD Projekt Red, they did put out a hotfix for if you do have it. I guess installed or on PS5.
Yeah, I know.
There's a hotfix that just came out.
That same hotfix came out for PC. It doesn't fix performance. It just fixes bugs.
Oh, it's like 17 gigs, I think. Well,
for PC it was like 500 megs.
Okay, well, that's happening. And I was reading another story that they are like one of the lawyers or a law firm that had invested in the game or in CD Projekt Red and this Cyberpunk is like wanting to sue for being like misled, like misadvertised, like because they invested in it, and the product that's being put out is not what they were promised, nor what people were promised. And I'm like, man, this is just. I honestly feel bad because not only this news, but Cyberpunk was also hit with a lot of issues in terms of crunch, and not paying employees or with a bonus and just.
They have to recalculate their bonus. What's the word? Not requirements, but the requirements. I guess so.
Yeah. Conditions. I guess.
Conditions. Conditions. Yeah.
So it's a shame. Then